Here we are in the sod farm greenhouse. Since a picture I posted of the toilet paper rolls being used as pots was fairly popular, give a quick view and a little description of some of the other recycled materials that we use for pots. We'll start off right here with these newspaper pots. There's a lot of ways to make them, tools you can buy to make them, different styles. I'm not going to go into detail here. You can look it up on YouTube and get all the information you need on how to make these newspaper pots. Here we have the square ones. We like those mainly really because they're just a little cooler. They're a little folded origami thing. Obviously, but and they also are steadier than the round pots we'll look at in a second. But the problem is they are a little more time consuming to make. And as long as you pick a piece of paper twice as long as it is wide, they come out right. And if it's not quite that measurement, they come out a little wonky like this, but they still work. It's not really an intricate precision folding job. You can see how they're in the different sizes. You know, depending on the paper I used, what I'm going to plant in them, and how long it's going to be there. And I haven't got this far yet using these pots, but I do believe my experience with them, they tear apart so easily. I could probably transplant in succession by simply just ripping this pot. They rip very easily when wet. Dropping it in, you know, a few weeks later. Or you can squeeze the plants out and reuse the pot, or you can just rip it. Here's some plants I didn't take very good care of, so we're going to use them to show how this is an older newspaper pot. It was probably used for about a month, so you see it held up pretty well. So when it's wet, they just fall apart and rip easily, but this one's more or less dried out, and I could use it again. This shows how easily they tear when they're wet, sacrificing these dead things. Horrible mistake on our part, but live and learn. That's why we don't put all our eggs in one basket, and we plant in successions and waves and different times, and just to so that accidents like this don't ruin our season. Poor thing. Okay, see how easily it tears, and I could rip out the bottom, set it in the ground. Round pots, just the same as a square, different sizes of paper. What you do is you roll them around something, whatever size paper you choose. Well, and you pick different objects. I think these were rolled around an extra heavy duty cardboard tube. These were rolled around a smaller size, like Campbell's soup can. These were rolled around a medium to average size can. So you get the exact size you want and height depending on what paper you use. You see there's a lot of different heights here. I could make them. Great for starting seeds. Great for tall ones. Great for letting something like a tomato develop a nice long deep root system. Then I can simply tear the paper off, set it in the ground, and it will not disturb those roots. They'll go in nice and comfortable. Be able to spread. Said I kind of like those for tomatoes. They can get a deep root, and I can get a lot of small spice. These are something, you get about 76 of these in one 10 by 20 flat. About 36 of these. Okay. Like I said, I'll use these maybe for tomatoes. These will be used for like when I start my melons, cucumbers, and squash, which is actually happening this week. Now making these are great. They're recycled. They biodegrade very well. They hold up just the right amount of sturdiness and dissolving. But they are time consuming to make and require you to scavenge newspaper from your local library, recycling center, family, whoever reads a lot of papers. Another very similar things, toilet paper rolls. I posted a picture before. Sometimes I use them with no bottom. Things that really dislike root disturbance, say parsley, I can plant in here, transplant that right into the ground, cut the side or tear the side actually. Poof, no root disturbance, and hopefully the parsley grows well. Or you can make small cuts in the bottom of the toilet paper roll, fold it over, and now it has a bottom. And these are about like the newspaper. They have the combination of holding up and disintegrating both about down perfectly. So, move on here. Plastic cups. Not the most environmental thing, plastic, but its reusability makes it handy. You know, you can use it over and over. Let's get these cups. These are about 6 cents a piece at the dollar store. These small bathroom cups are only about 2 cents a piece. Great size, just like these small newspaper tubes for starting seedlings. And of course, they have all different sizes and varieties of plastic cups. I just set them up like this in little stacks and drill holes in them with my handy drill for drainage, and away they go. I could probably use these for years, actually. I will use those for years. These, I may or may not poke a hole in the bottom, depending. And here's various things. You see, gardeners hoard things a lot. If you know a serious gardener, they have a lot of these stashed somewhere, probably. A lot of these things. A lot of all types of pots stashed. And you can also find these pots, once again, like the newspaper, at the local recycling center. Here is a mini greenhouse. Well, that's what I'm calling it. What it was a strawberry container. And now I've dropped it on the floor. We can put some dirt in there. I cut the hinge so that I take the top all the way off. And until it germinates. I usually put lettuce in these. Until it germinates, I keep the top on, and once it germinates, I take the top off and set it underneath it like a little pot tray. Awesome, I love these. A little farther down the line on recycling, you can make these pots out of 2 liters. Once again, drill holes in the bottom, just like in the plastic cups. It's recycling. I've used these forever. I was feeling especially energetic and creative. I made these small bottoms with no hole drilled. Wow, set that down in there. Look at that. So nice. All right, moving on. Show some of these things in action. You'll see the wide variety of pots. Like, look at this. This come with, I believe, petunias at one time. What's it say? Well, it doesn't say. I think they were petunias. There are the newspaper pots in action. I like to put them in those fat, low, round pots to make small batches of things, keep me organized, because I get kind of confused with all these plants in here. Where else do we have some recycling in action? There's some of those small trays in action. Starting some yellow pear tomatoes. One thing I have not found a way to get around is buying these flats. If you're planting a lot, these 10-20 flats are pretty much invaluable. Over here to the tomatoes and peppers. See, there's one set of pots. There are the plastic cups. There's a different type of recycled pot. There are newspaper pots in action. Different types of recycled containers. There are the 2 liters in action full of lemon balm. See, so it's just a riot of different pots we use in here. It's a lot of fun, actually. This setup's kind of getting to be my favorite because I can plant small batches and keep them organized with the round pots in there. But see how nicely the square pots fit and stand up. This is a downfall of these cups. They wobble. They fall over when you're carrying them if you're not very careful. That stinks. But other than that, they're almost perfect in their cheapness and durability and size. Well, that's it. And I hope you found something here that you can use in your own garden. And remember, nothing compares to local, fresh, naturally produced produce. Fruits, livestock. It may be healthier. I believe it is. People debate that, though, depending on who studied it. But it's definitely nicer to nature. It's nicer to our planet. And I guess the number one thing is it tastes a lot better. You can taste the difference between a local grown, fresh, ripe heirloom tomato and a grocery store tomato. They are not even the same fruit. So, enjoy and have a good day.